Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to present you the next Industry 5.0 keynote. After 2 years, we will aim the mining industry again and the impact of Industry 5.0 on the mining industry. My name is Michael Rada. I'm human and I'm the founder of Industry 5.0. And before we start, let me ask you two questions. The first one is who we are, because we have many titles. We are managers, presidents, chairmen. We are students, producers, teachers, fathers and mothers. With every single title, we are forgetting one. We are human beings. Living ones, not like this man on County Art of Pilsen Brewery. And if we do realize who we are, let me ask you the second question. Where do we live? Because we live in beautiful cities like Rublet, Pilsen, Paris, Brussels. We live in beautiful cities which we fill with trash. We work in a factory which produces in one day more trash than a city in a month. We produce products which frequently, before reaching the end user, become trash as well, and we store them in big metal houses filled with air, asking for more to be built to store more trash inside. And at the end of our shift, we leave, go home next to the output of our production. And we arrive home and maybe we realize that something what was called food before is called bio-waste today. And we look at the red sky above our head asking us, where do I live? This question will be answered today. But before we do that, let's speak about the mining industry, which I asked Wikipedia about, and I have one more source. I asked my own father, who spent all his life working in a mine. Mining is the extraction of valuable materials or other geological materials on the earth, usually from an ore body, lode, vein, seam, reef, or placer deposit. Deposits form a mineralized package that is of economic interest of the miner. In the last decades, new mines have been identified in mining of data, information, know-how, intellectual property, and with Industry 5.0 came one more, on-the-ground mines, which we will speak about later. Industry 5.0 is the first industrial evolution ever led by man, by human. It's based on the principles of systematic waste prevention, industrial upcycling, and it was launched on December 1st, 2015. Industry 5.0 recognizes and prevents 4 types of waste: physical, social, urban, and process waste. And their principles has been already implemented since 2013. And in 5 years, it prevented more than 1 million metric tons of products and materials to become waste. What is the existing reality? I was born on December 24th, 1971. At that time, the planet was called Blue Marble. But 3 years ago, blue was not seen anymore and the planet was gray and brown because of the environmental damage. Then something strange happened, and in early 2020, the blue face of our planet showed up again, not because we intentionally change our behavior, but because we have been locked down by a virus. We live on a planet around which we have been able to establish in just few decades a global landfill with more than 170 million pieces of space debris. Pieces smaller than 10 centimeters, you have to add another 650 of 10 to 30 centimeters, and 80,000 above 30 centimeters. This is what is above our heads, and what's below our feet. We dig inside, hunting for the only criteria of success, which is more. More money, more people, more companies, more cars, more houses, more businesses. More is the only criteria of success. Ask Fortune 500 members, Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, Mike Bloomberg, Bill Gates, how they get to the ladder. We are living on a planet together with 7.95 billion people. not knowing that 200 years ago it was just 1 billion and 100 years ago just 1.5 billion, which means in the last 100 years the human population five-folds, despite of two world wars, two world pandemics, and more than 650 war conflicts, which happened since 1945. And in 2050, some predicts there should be 11 billion people living on the planet. And just now, please remember the last image I'll show you. We are living here in 206 countries, according to UN 193. We are speaking 7,000 languages. We run 1 billion cars, and we let 9 million people die hungry every single year, despite the fact that every single day, globally, is being wasted more than 23 million metric tons of food and crop. We let 800,000 people die thirsty every single year, despite the fact that only California crude oil industry consume every single year every single day, more than 347 million liters of drinking water. We grow our food to throw it away because the leaves are for the buyer in a chain store not green enough. We put our overproduction in a rivers and on a landfills not to spoil the market price. We carry our water in firefighting tanks not knowing that the same amount of water is needed to produce just one and simple hamburger, and we do it on a planet on which this image is a reality as well, showing that one sip of water can save not one, but two lives. We work in factories with walls filled with environmental certificates, and behind the walls landfill is being created. We park our obsolete packaging on a parking lots for employees, waiting till it becomes waste. Unperfect goods, because of the quality control, are being wasted instead of serving hundreds and thousands of others. We are listening to the words of World Bank, which says that till 2050 the waste volume should grow. In some destination it should even double. Despite the fact that almost everything can be reused or repurposed, but in fact only 13.5, according to this report, is being repurposed. And this is what made waste industry the third most profitable industry in the world, just after the war industry and crude oil industry. What is the relation between mining and waste? Very close one, because mining is being considered one of the worst environmental industrial activities, leaving a deep carbon footprint and waste footprint behind. Extraction, disposal, transportation, storage, and even the consumption create waste. But is it really the biggest one? And how big is the waste? If you take coal out of the ground, you take same amount of waste. If you start with ore, good ore, you take twice so much waste than the material you need. If you speak about gold, 1,000 times more, and diamonds, 10,000 times more. And what other industries? And you may be surprised. 40% of energy is being lost during the transmission. 54% of wooden packaging is being used just a single way and thrown away and wasted without any damage. 60% of fish, so-called bycatch, is wasted in the ocean fishing industry. 75% of all crop and food is being wasted before reaching the second stage of production. 95% of drinking water can be saved if new technology for firefighting will be applied. And 96.7% of offices are being wasted for more than half time in a day. What are on the ground mines? These are the existing resources. This is something what we already have, but instead of utilizing, we call it waste. It has a different forms, different shapes, different volumes, but the principle is all the time the same. Somebody does not need it, so it's being wasted. This is not parking lot in a front of a Black Friday shopping day. No, this is a graveyard of new cars, graveyards which exist in almost every country which produce cars. These are cars not being produced for being sold. sell, but they are produced because to fulfill the investors' requirements. And this is just small part of wasting, which happens on this planet around which we created a landfill, and we try to do the same inside the planet. The reason for that is that we have built our future on the top of a pyramid, considering that the pyramid is the best shape for the future, not realizing that these pyramids has not been built to keep living people inside, but dead corpse. I realized that more than a decade ago, and I created another groundstone on which the future can be built, much stable one, call them 6R. And how does it work? It's not easy to use it, because firstly you have to recognize that something must not become waste, and if you do so, the even harder step came, because you have to reconsider what to do with it. But then the reward will come. You will fail probably for the first, second, third time, but then when you succeed, in this moment you will start to change the world. How does mining industry will look like in the age of Industry 5.0? Firstly, the mining industry will not just dig inside the earth, but will utilize the on-the-ground mines. We will think once, but use twice everything what we have, turning from wasteful to wasteless. And we will create new complex environment by communication and cooperation between the industries. The sustainability will be applied before something happens, not after. And the logistic will become a crucial part of the system. Mining will not damage, but protect the environment. And mining is construction in the future, not the decomposition. The new mining industry must harmonize with all the segments, not just with the mining or just one consumer. Then the main tools are creativity, openness, research, and communications. They are missing. We will not waste our time by asking 5 times why when we can think and ask for the first time the right question. Landfills, overburdened machinery machines will serve even after their first life and dedication. Every trouble can turn into treasure, and Industry 5.0 do it systematically. Minor will be dedication again, not shame or punishment. I was asking the 9 years of doing my job whether there is any value of systematic waste prevention, and in 2019 we have introduced this number. We spent a lot of time calculating it. 475 trillion US dollars of saving, which can be realized in a single year, every year growing. But unfortunately today is not valid anymore. The reason is the war in Ukraine. The value of systematic waste prevention increased for the first time in human history to 1 quadrillion US dollars, because not a single shot will be reused and not a single human life can be recovered. Dear ladies and gentlemen, we are not living in an ice age. We are living in a waste age. And because of that, we need legislation, and I spent 8 years to write it down. And here it is. Nothing that can be used or utilized again must become waste. Everything must be considered primary as a pre-waste existing resource and remain in the system. The secondary use or utilization is not limited to a primary function of a product or material and can be utilized by everyone respecting the rules and regulations of the country. Collecting, sorting, baling, and trade are not being considered anymore secondary utilization, and if not utilized on a primary location, it must be offered to others before being wasted. And dear ladies and gentlemen, there is one important thing to remember. There is no waste if we do not waste. Trust me or not, but there does not exist a single legislation in the world which defines how a product becomes waste. So it must be part of the waste prevention legislation, because wasting is a process in which a product or material of any kind, form and volume become waste. In fact, wasting is a system failure and must be prevented first without any restriction or legal limitation, and please understand. And remember that for the rest of your life. Wasting is not a feature of a product or material, but the result of human behavior. And single use is one of the most frequent forms of wasting. What are the waste categories? It's a physical waste. This is the trash which we find out in a garbage. But there is another one. It's a social waste. People and animals which cannot live meaningful life. And there is a urban waste, which was discussed yesterday during the conference and will be discussed today as well. These are the brownfields, but even new green fields, which are established next to where existing brownfields are placed. And there is a process waste which is omnipresent in every single industry and business, including bank, education, politics. Did you know that 55% of shipping containers are shipped all around the globe with just air inside, despite the fact that in 2010 was already introduced a collapsible shipping container? Dear ladies and gentlemen, Industry 5.0 is the first industrial evolution ever led by man, by human. It is the new mindset of businesses and individuals, from wasteful to wasteless. It delivers results without the need of capital investment, and it's based on the principles of systematic waste prevention. It utilizes the on-the-ground mines, and it's based on transparency, profit sharing, and efficiency. And please do understand one. Industry 5.0 is not a sales tool or a buzzword or a fifth industrial revolution. That's a misleading concept, which is being shared by some who try to make it as a sales tool for the machines which has not been sold with Industry 4.0. Dear ladies and gentlemen, we are living in the age of digitalization of our work. Our children live for 2 years in a time of digitalization of the education, and our leisure time was digitalized long time ago. So it's look like there is only one thing needed to be digitalized, and this is the human himself. But if we do so, our home will look like this. And this is not a mistake, because data don't need any light. I have realized a decade ago, and I have decided I will not live on the bottom of a black hole, and I started to build another home, wasteless world. On January 1st, 2021, we started so-called 17 Challenge, Global Recovery Challenge, in which we say that we can recover the global society, economy, industry, and environment in the same time, which needs COVID to put everything down. Dear ladies and gentlemen, my name is Mike Corrada. I'm human. And don't worry, I'm not alone. At the moment, there are Industry 5.0 ambassadors in 104 countries already, representing more than 7 billion people. I took my decision how the future will look like and what I will do to achieve it. Right now, it's your time to do the same. And at the end, let me thank you, because you gave me right now the most valuable assets which you have, your time. And I hope not a single second was wasted. Have a nice time, free of waste and wasting in all its forms. Stay safe and free, because only these three together will help you to live meaningful life. Have a nice day and stay safe.